They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let's we join hands with ICPC, make them better.
Let's make Nigeria great again.
ICPC, they want you.
I want hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Humans are wired to have needs and wants. Needs like food, decent shelter and clothing are necessary for existence. Wants, on the other hand, which can be as complex as the desire to acquire the entire universe, are often propelled by the pleasure principle, which is basically the driving force for human beings to want to gratify themselves.
Yes, it has been said that we often have enough for our needs but never enough for our wants. The desire to satisfy wants has pushed many public officials to demand or accept tips, gratification, or gifts in order to provide service to members of the public who require such service.
The Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 makes the demand, offer, and acceptance of gratification a criminal offense that attracts sanctions. Today on the program, we shall be looking at gratification in our focus segment. My name is Ruth Awodi.
We have a segment on anti-corruption stories, another on ethics and values, and more. My name is Hawasani Garba.
Welcome to Corruption Must Go. In the meantime, our correspondent Inatimi Ugwoji will bring us updates on the war against corruption.
The government of the United States of America has offered to provide relevant support to ICPC to help it improve on its operations. The offer was made when a team of U.S. officials visited the commission recently. The team included Special Agent Pamela Bergen and Jim Oscar of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, Scott Tolley of the U.S. Department of Justice, and Special Agent John Wilson, who is also of the FBI and is the legal attaché, U.S. Embassy, Nigeria. Speaking during the visit, Mr. Wilson said the team would like to organize a mentorship program for the investigators and prosecutors of the commission. He explained that involvement of prosecutors in the investigation process of a case from start to finish would greatly improve the chances of successful prosecution.
What we're trying to accomplish here at ICPC as well as EFCC, along with Scott and Pam, to have the investigators and prosecutors work together. That's the mission, that's the goal, that's why we're here. So that's to address your concerns, sir. That's the main reason why Scott and Pam are here today, to try to assist in that area so they can work together and collaborate, and that's why we do the case mentoring sessions. So I just wanted to address that point. That's the main reason why we're here today.
In his remark, ICPC Chairman Mr. Ekpo Unta, who was represented by the Secretary to the Commission, Dr. Elvis Oglafa, told the delegation that the Commission was interested in any form of assistance that the U.S. could render to it.
Very, very delighted. We agree to work with you, with your officials, from time to time, particularly in the area of capacity building. But the issue in capacity building is when and how, because we are ready next week. Tomorrow is Friday. If you want to build, if you want to train us by Monday, we are ready. So, as a policy, since last year, we we noticed that there was a kind of lacuna in the investigation process. So we have decided, the chairman has approved that lawyers, prosecutors must be involved from the beginning. So we are doing that already, and like I said earlier, our cases are not thrown out of court, just like others, because the system, the commission believes in due diligence, believes in professionalism, but then, out of X number of staff, everybody cannot be brought to the same level. So we have some officers that need to be brought to a higher level of competence, so that we can achieve what we desire. We want 100% of our cases, to be 100%. But then the aspect of experience will also come in, and that's why we need you to help us, give us technical assistance in terms of knowledge, mentoring, and techniques, especially in the area of mutual legal assistance, for instance. We need that, as much as others. And then in terms of equipment, forensic equipment, it was very helpful to us. We are building our forensic units. If the head of department is here, we still need, a few gadgets, to bring it up to speed. And then the capacity, as I was saying, we all need to build our capacity. That was one of the things that drove me to be engaged with the American Institute of Anti-Corruption. You can see on my card, they have certified some of us as members of the American Anti-Corruption Institute. And we are willing to learn. We are willing to be very professional in all that we do.
He, however, requested the visitors to be more definitive about the nature of the mentoring assistance they were proposing, while adding that the Commission will welcome any ideas that would lead to improvement in its prosecutorial and investigative processes, as well as the various preventive strategies it had adopted in its anti-corruption campaign. A woman whose share dividends were seized by First Bank for 8 years has received succor through the assistance of ICPC. The woman, Mrs. Abisola Titilayo Oluwadari, who is a chief technologist in the University of Jos, had not received payment for her share dividends worth 420,000 naira without any explanation. Mrs. Oluwadari had purchased 350,000 naira worth of Skybank shares through First Bank in 2008, but was not issued any share certificate. Worried by the non-issuance of the certificate, the complainant contacted First Bank to claim her accumulated interest on the shares, but was turned away by the bank. She then reported the matter to the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Apex Bank referred the case to ICPC for further investigation. The Commission's intervention led to the release of the money being owed by the complainant by First Bank to ICPC. A check of 420,000 naira was handed over to Mrs. Oluwadari by the head of Financial Investigation Unit, Mr. Mike Agboro, who represented the chairman of ICPC at the Commission's headquarters. Oluwadari expressed gratitude to God and the Commission for its prompt intervention, which resulted in the recovery of her money. I am greatly impressed, and I have been telling people about ICPC. I thought ICPC was only for politicians, but now I know better, she said. That will be all on this segment.
The desire to satisfy one's wants has pushed quite a number of public officials to willingly demand and receive gratification in order to give service. Gratification can influence the judgment of a public officer, making him to grant unmerited favors.
When confronted with allegations of receiving gratification in the course of their official functions, some public officers naively state that such proceeds of this illegality are mere gifts. This week, we sample the views of some Nigerians on the subject matter.
And I think it's better just remain who you are. Whatsoever you are going to get, you are going to get it.
Okay, don't you know that giving him after a favor has been carried out by you, maybe he did something for you and you came to appreciate it. Don't you know that next time when you come to seek for another favor, he's going to consider you above?
Definitely he has to. Do you understand? Because you have already motivated him by doing so. You understand?
So,
that's it.
You know that's gratification too.
Yes, that's gratification. That's why I said gratification. I understand it in two ways. Maybe you give somebody something before obtaining what you want from them or from him. Or after obtaining that, then you give him that as an appreciation. Do you understand? That is how I understood it.
Thank you.
I feel we all should team up together to fight against it, because that is what is making our country bad today. All the difficulties the ordinary man or the middleman is facing is through this kind of what they call the gratification we are talking of now. If this should be abolished, I think our country should move forward. When we were young, we don't have issues like this. But today, whatever one does to you is expecting the next thing, which is wrong.
Okay, have you ever encountered such a situation?
On several occasions now. On several occasions.
What did you do?
On 2 occasions I reacted, but the other ones I keep mute because I was pursuing something. I knew that if I don't show up, I will lose out. So because of my fear of me losing out, I had to oblige to it.
But do you know that you can report to the anti-corruption agency anytime?
This time I'm telling you, there were no avenues like that.
Okay, you didn't know that you could report to anti-corruption?
No, that time government didn't set up platforms like this.
Okay, but now that you know, next time when somebody solicits for
I will not even accept it.
will you report to them?
No, why not? Why not? Why not? I know where to go now.
It's all right.
Gratification. Offer something to one to achieve something. Isn't that gratification? If you want to make our society free from corruption, to give each and everybody a sense of belonging, we have to be scared away from that gratification. Gratification is not supposed to be encouraged in our society. If, as it means, I'm looking for an appointment or a contract and for a gratification to somebody, what of somebody who merited it, all his documents are complete, he has the professional talent to secure that job, and he don't have means of offering that gratification? We are killing that person's effort to become viable in our society. So gratification is never an idea to be encouraged in our society at all costs, either at our university levels, of public service, private sector. No, we should kick away from it. And it is tax for everybody to kick against it.
But do you know that it is a crime to offer somebody any kind of gift in anticipation of a favor, or for any person to even solicit for any gift from you before he carries out?
Yeah, it is very, very, that is what I say, it is not encouraging. If I have a means of assisting people, I can go to mosques. They are all handicapped, these lay people. I can give them. They even pray for me. I get the word from God. But if you give it to somebody who has, you are not helping the society to grow.
Okay, have you ever come in contact with somebody who solicits for gratification from you before carrying out?
It is never in my character, so God have never let me to jam with those type of people.
But if you come across eventually, will you report them to the anti-corruption agency?
Why not? If I feel I have all the necessary documents they require, and you are demanding for a gratification, I'll definitely report you. And I have no cause of regretting reporting if any happen.
Welcome to the discussion segment of your program, Corruption Must Go. With me in the studio is Barrister Sonny Ezana to discuss on the topic gratification. Barrister, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
What is gratification by ICPC's definition?
The definition of gratification can be found in Section 2 of the ICPC Act. In defining gratification, the Act defined it in very wide terms to encompass virtually all situations where benefit is promised or offered to a person in order to influence that person in the performance or non-performance of his duties. When we talk about benefits, we refer to a whole lot of things. Benefit can take the form of cash. It can take the form of property, movable or immovable. It can take the form of discharge from obligations. A good example of this is when somebody is indebted to a bank or a financial institution and fraud is discovered in that financial institution. If the person is made an offer that, look, help us to suppress this fraud and we will write off this 10 million or 20 million naira which we are owing to this financial institution, that is gratification as envisaged under Section 2 of the ICPC Act. It also takes the form of offer of job or employment. Any benefit at all that is offered to a person in order to influence that person in the performance or non-performance of his duties is referred to as gratification. And when we talk about performance and non-performance, we know that generally people in offices have duties to perform. If they receive any kind of benefit to perform these duties, it is gratification. And if they receive any kind of benefit in order not to perform any duties that will be to the benefit of the person offering the inducement, it's also gratification. A good example is people that attend to bid documents.
Okay.
We know that in bidding, naturally, a closing date is set.
Yes.
If somebody is offered benefit so that he will still allow some people to bring in their bids after the closing date, it's an offer that has made that person not to close the bid when it's supposed to be closed. So it encompasses a whole lot of things.
Very well then. Then what section of the ICPC Act criminalizes giving or receiving gratification?
We have quite a number of sections under the ICPC Act. I would like to start with Section 8, then go to Section 9, Section 10. You have Section 18 and Section 19. One thing that is common among all these provisions is that they criminalize gratification in any form. When a person is given gratification and he accepts it and he accepts same, it is criminalized under these sections. When a person receives gratification through agents, Section 9 criminalizes it. You know, people will say, he didn't give me anything.
Yes.
But he received it through another
person.
It's criminalized under Section 9. Okay, situations also where people offer benefits to people is also criminalized. So it's not only the person that asks for the benefit or the person that received the benefit, but also what we call the offeror. The person that offers the benefit is also caught up by Section 10 of the ICPC Act. So generally, both the giver and the receiver are culpable. The same thing under Section 18, bribery of public officers, Section 19, using office to confer corrupt or unfair advantage on self or another person. All these things criminalize, all these sections criminalize gratification in all its ramifications. But before I stop on that point, I also need to make a point because there's a dangerous trend that is going on, which people may not really appreciate or think is gratification. We have situations where people perform their official duties, they don't take anything, they don't accept anything while performing those official duties. But after performing the official duties, somebody goes home and says, that man just did this thing for me. He did it very well. Let me go and appreciate him.
Yes.
I want to sound it very loud and clear to everybody that that appreciation is gratification. We will also have to take a look at section 60 of the ICPC Act to see that the fact that gratification or appreciation is offered in situations, it's customary to offer appreciation in situations like this, is not a defense. So people should be properly informed and guided.
In essence, what you are saying is that such gratification, I mean, the form where one can be appreciated, is also an offense?
It's an offense under the ICPC Act. Section 60 is clear and unambiguous. The fact that in situations like this, appreciation is offered is not a defense when anybody is charged with an offense of gratification under any of sections 8, 9, 10, 18, and 19.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, any punishment? Any punishment for gratification?
Yes, it depends on the section under which the person is charged.
Okay.
Section 8 of the ICPC Act provides punishment of 7 years imprisonment. Likewise, Section 9 also provides for 7 years imprisonment. Section 10, 7 years imprisonment. Section 18 provides for 5 years imprisonment with hard labor. And then Section 19 provides for 5 years imprisonment without option of fine. So, if anybody is caught up by Section 19 and is found guilty, it means there must be custodial sentence. There is no option of fine. The law is clear about that.
Okay. And this can only be found in the ICPC Act 2000. I mean the punishment for gratification.
Yes, within the meaning of, as described by ICPC Act,
Yes.
gratification as described by ICPC Act, the punishments are provided under that law.
Okay.
That does not mean that there are no other laws that criminalize corrupt practices or things that resemble gratification. The Penal Code, the Criminal Code, the FCC Act, and all that, they also criminalize these things.
Thank you very much, Barrister. I want to believe the audience have been enlightened on the topic gratification. Gratification can be prevented if both the giver and the receiver understand that it's a crime punishable under the law.
Corrupt offers to public officers or corrupt demands by public officers with a view to inducing them to compromise in the cause of carrying out their official duty is an offense under the ICPC law, and it attracts a punishment up to 7 years imprisonment.
Let's steer clear of corruption and make Nigeria great again. Thank you for being part of this program. Join us same time next week for yet another edition. My name is Hawa Sani Garba.
And I am Ruth Awodi, saying bye for now.